next segment. I'm going to talk about Joel Embiid and his medal with Cameroon first. So, Joel recently just, won the award for, literally an award specific to Cameroon, and, it's called the Medal of Valor. And they gave it to him because he won the gold medal, which is, that's to my understanding as to why they gave him that medal. And it recognizes individuals who have risked their lives or personal safety to save or attempt to save another person's life. That's what the Medal of Valor is, at least in Washington. I don't know what it is for Cameroon, but I'm just going to go ahead and see what it entails in Cameroon. Yeah, it honors the given Cameroon natives who have made exceptional contributions in the field of arts, science, agriculture, commerce, or industry. So yeah, that's the Order of Valor that Joel Embiid received quickly after winning the Olympics. And I think that this, the reason why he got this award was literally because he ended up winning the gold and representing Cameroon. While he didn't represent Cameroon, everybody in the stands and everybody on Team USA and everybody knew that Joel Embiid should have played for Cameroon. That was one of the biggest dislikes of the entire Team USA team. It was the fact that Joel was on it and the fact that he wasn't playing for Cameroon. And, a lot of people, they like to say, oh, he was just easing his way into a gold medal because, if you win, when you're playing with the United States, you easily have the best chances of winning a gold medal in basketball. And, I'm surprised that they gave this to him. But then, I guess it comes with the unwanted recognition because, let's face it, he's very iconic. And he was either a good thing for Team USA or a bad thing for Team USA. Regardless, he gave you clicks. And every single time somebody mentioned Joel, there's always going to be that other person that mentions he's from Cameroon. He shouldn't even be on the United States. And that gave them all the attention. On top of that, winning a gold medal for a lot of countries is one of the highest, honors that you can get. Winning a gold medal is really, we like to, in the United States, we treat it as child's play because it's every single time we have several athletes that win the gold medal, so we don't really think it's a big deal. But you also have to remember that there are so many other athletes that didn't medal and didn't end up winning a medal. And so winning one and letting that one be gold weighs a lot. It weighs a whole lot more than what we think it is. And Embiid, in the post, I guess you could say the interview that he had over there, it was a good experience. It's been a grind being away from home and family for a few weeks, but the group of guys we have made it easy. Paris is a great city, and the next one is in Los Angeles. I might not be with Team USA. I might be with Cameroon. This is what he said when questioned about the 2028 Olympic Games that are being held in Los Angeles. And I honestly don't know. Will a lot of people, like him more that he's on Cameroon, or a lot of people going to dislike him now because he abandoned the United States? But we'll see how that goes. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Do you think he deserves the award, or do you think he doesn't deserve the award? So, with that out of the way, I'm going to continue with this list. So we left off at Brandon Ingram, who was left off at 6. So now we're at number 7, who is DeMar DeRozan. And DeMar was going to make this list eventually. It was only just a matter of time. And DeMar, he's been a little bit, I don't want to say, how should I say, confusing? Yeah, I think that's the better word. He's been very confusing. His career has been very confusing. Throughout his time with Toronto, when he was the best player, and, the best player on the team, one of the biggest obstacles in his entire career was the postseason. Specifically, LeBron James. He just could never, ever escape LeBron. In every single postseason that he's been in for the Eastern Conference, 3 times in a row was losing to LeBron. 3 times in a row. And ever since, that third loss, he has not been the same kind of player that I remember him when he was on Toronto. Like, he hasn't been that same leader. I really feel like in that Toronto, Kyle Lowry was the leader for that team, and DeMar was just, I guess you could say the brute for that team. Like, the scorer, the guy who mainly scores and things like that, and is rather tough with the basketball. But he wasn't a leader. And that loss that he took with Toronto, especially after, seeing Kawhi Leonard win the championship for that same team that he was a part of, it gave him, like, obviously, he started questioning himself. I saw this on a podcast. He really, like, started contemplating, like, is it me? Am I the reason why I can't win a championship? And ever since that tenure with Toronto, like, ever since then, he has not been nearly the same kind of world-stopping player that he was on Toronto. I mean, 2022, he had a pretty good year, averaging 27 points per game, but there was no playoff success with that. And he's also been having relatively good years on the Chicago Bulls, but there's just no playoff success when it comes with that. For his entire tenure with the Bulls, he shot 50% he shot 49%, from the field, and 33% from three. Like, he has upped his three-point percentage tremendously to, develop and adapt to this league now. And it's, really, I'm just stunned at the fact that he has yet to win a ring, and he's also yet to make the postseason with the Chicago Bulls since 2022. Like, I would have expected him to make it, a little bit, but he barely makes it. And going from always making the playoffs to barely making the playoffs it's going to take you some knocks. But again, I have him higher than the rest of the small forwards on this list, and the rest of the small forwards being Franz Wagner. Now, I was previously against having Franz Wagner on this top 10 small forward list. In fact, if you were to ask me to make this list before the Olympics, I don't think Franz Wagner would even be on it. And, excuse me. Apart from signing a huge deal with the Orlando Magic, he played very well for the German team, and, he was just a very, very important piece for those guys, and he was a great shooter, which was one of the biggest reasons why I didn't have high hopes for him when he signed that big contract with Orlando. But he's sort of proven all of my doubts incorrect, I guess you could say. So I had to put him here, had to put him somewhere, and he's going to be, I think he'll be cool at being number 8. I think it makes sense that he's number 8. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Again, we're sort of on the lower end of this tier where, I'm listing off some of the mid players. And another one of them is OG Anunoby. Now, OG, compared to the rest of the starters and the rest of the players on this list, he definitely has the weakest point production compared to everyone else. But really, his value is what's important. The Knicks win more games when they have him on the court than when they don't have him on the court. And his defense is also one of the best, arguably the second or maybe even third best on this list. And, Scotty's coming up. Don't worry about that. But OG Anunoby, I would put him over Scotty just because he's been able to be more value for the Knicks than Scotty has been more value to the Toronto Raptors. On top of the fact that if it wasn't for OG getting injured, the Knicks would probably be in the finals. That's just me. And then finally, last player on this list is Scotty Barnes. Again, he was on my fantasy team, one of my favorite players, one of my most underrated players actually going into this season. Scotty Barnes, I would have had him higher, but I just, I don't think he's really done much aside from just 1 year compared to everyone else on this list. Maybe I put him over OG, but that was a big maybe given off of the fact that OG was healthy for a majority of the season to help the Knicks while Scotty Barnes was injured. But before Scotty Barnes got injured, he was leading the Raptors in every single stat. Points, rebounds, steals, assists, and any sort of stat and blocks as well. I completely forgot about that. Every stat that you could think of, Scotty Barnes was leading in it for the Raptors. And he was the best player that I had on fantasy. He was so unbelievably consistent for my fantasy team. like, I couldn't believe how consistent that he was. Like, he was getting triple doubles, double doubles, like, every single night. And he's definitely a sleeper pick. If you guys are looking for a fantasy draft, he's definitely a huge sleeper pick. A lot of people don't really pick up on him because he's on the Raptors and because they don't think that that he gets that many stats. But he was a huge steal for my team. And we didn't pay attention to the league much afterwards, but I did. And I remember I was in the lead every single week. Like, I'm actually gonna go ahead and pull up my my former fantasy team right now to see if I still have a picture of it, or to see if I still have a do I count Zach as a small forward? No, he was on my top 10 shooting guards list, so no, I do not count him at small forward, especially with DeMar playing as well. I count him as a shooting guard, but that's just me. And, you know, I had LeBron on the team, I had Scottie Pippen on the team, I had Anthony Davis on the team, and they're all very, very valuable. Like, all of those guys that I just mentioned, they were some of the best picks that I've had. And I really wanted to get Jokic. Like, everyone wants to get Jokic, but I couldn't. And so I made do with what I could. And that's really all that I have for the small forwards list. Again, let me know in the comments if you guys would change anything, or if you guys agree with this list, or if you wouldn't change anything at all. Or if, you know, I missed a player, because maybe I did miss a player. I mean, I don't think I did. I spent a good time on this list, but I don't think I missed a player. And let me know in the comments what you guys think of this list. So we're going to go ahead and go into the third segment, where I talk about the Spurs and the possibility of them signing a new player to the team that could potentially help Victor Wembanyama develop. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about that. I have the article pulled up right here, so be sure to stay tuned after this short break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.